Hello, everybody. My name is Noor. It's short for Noor Hayati. So it's my turn right now to present to you up and running with Microsoft Project. And now Project is an excellent end user application for you to manage your project schedule. Okay, so we're going to start off with let me show you. Let me switch over to Microsoft Project. By the way, I'm using Project Professional 2019. And we're going to start off with this first. Now, usually when we are watching or when you look at a project schedule, it will be a Gunshot, right? Everybody has seen a Gunshot. But now I want to highlight a little bit of a report. This is a report that you can generate that is available by default in Microsoft Project when you have done your input and you have done your tracking. So this is the project overview. So one glance, we take a look at it, you can see this project starts on 30th of April. Okay, and it's going to end on the September. It's a historical project. If you notice, it's 2019. All right. So apart from the normal Gantt chart that everybody sees, we have a visual. Now, this feature has been around, okay, from 2013. This is not new. So apart from the other views that are available in Microsoft Project, you can also get a glimpse of what's happening by using these visual reports. Now, first, what is Microsoft Project? It's an application within Microsoft. You use it to schedule a temporary activity, a temporary endeavor that is aimed towards delivering a project, delivering a service, or delivering a product. Okay, so first, we have to understand what is a project first, all right? So a project is a temporary set of activities. Either it is for you to produce a product, a service, or any other objective that you have in mind. Now, what do you use to schedule a project? Microsoft Project. Now, apart from using it to schedule, you can, which is developing a plan, you can use it to plan, look at the schedule, what do I need to do, okay, in order for me to achieve this activity. You can also even assign, you have a plan, you have the plan already. So the next step would be, who's going to do the work? It's called resources. In Microsoft Project, it's called resources. So you have developed a plan, you have a schedule, who's going to be doing the work, the resources. Now, bear in mind, resources doesn't mean people. It can be equipment, and it can also be materials, consumable. Okay? Now, this is the next part that I want to highlight, which is tracking progress. So don't just use Microsoft Project to develop a plan. You can also use it once the plan is ready, you have presented it in a meeting, everybody has agreed to it. Continue to use Microsoft Project to track. Once the project has started, use Microsoft Project to keep track of what is currently happening. Because you could actually plan for a task to take about 5 days, but in actual fact, you know, real life, anything can affect the project, isn't it, right? Or affect the task. Something can happen to the resources or the location, material didn't arrive on time. So use tracking for your post-mortem later on. Now, this is, I have to admit, this is not used too much for the many classes that I've done before and the company that I've dealt with. When it comes to Microsoft Project, I've always asked them, how do you manage the budget? You use Microsoft Project? A lot of time, they will say, no, we'll manage it on the side. And guess what application everybody will use? Microsoft Excel, right? They will always find it much easier for them to keep track in an application. Or maybe some organization have their own enterprise program, okay, solution to manage a project budget. Now, this is another item. I have to say, managing budget maybe not so, but some of the organization that for training, I've dealt with during training, they do take a look at the workloads. Remember the resource earlier? If you want to see, am I overusing this particular resource in the project? Yes or no? Okay. Or if I want to reschedule, I want to take a look at how best I can use these resources throughout my project. Use the same application. Use the same solution. Okay. You don't have to use another program, all within Microsoft Project. Okay, now let's go back to project. This is the visual report. This is called the report. Now to get to this, of course, you need some input. Anything, isn't it, right? It will be fantastic if you can suddenly say, open Microsoft Project, give me my schedule, right? There are some templates, of course, but most of the time, the template might not suit what you're doing. So you will have to do your input. So in order for you to get something like this, number one, you got to input first, all right? Make sure that you input your data. Now, I'm going to switch screen. I'm currently in the report, so I'm going to use my ribbon at the top and switch over to the ever popular Gunshot. I'm sure everybody have seen this. Okay, this is a Gunshot. I choose orange. Believe it or not, orange is my favorite color. Okay, so this is a partially tracked project. Okay, if you notice on the left side, I have some tick marks over here. That means I've started to track this project, and that means these tasks are done. Okay, these tasks are done. But if you take a look at the screen, it tells you the task is done from the tick mark, but from your Gantt chart, notice there's no percentage, how much is done. So that's when we have to switch to another view. So one tip, when it comes to using Microsoft Project, you have to get used to switching from one view to another. Now, this view that we are looking at right now, this is called the Gantt chart view. If you can see on my left side over here, this is the Gantt chart. Okay, so the Gantt chart view is an excellent view for you to start off. You want to start off using Microsoft Project to do your input, this is the view. But when it comes to tracking, there will be another view that is suitable. Okay, before I switch, take a minute. Take a look at your current display on the right side over here. You notice these are the bars. I have another color bar within the Gantt bar over here to show that's the progress. I'm going to be switching views right now. The fastest way, my favorite way to switch a view is by using the view bar on the right side. I'm just using my right click and switching to the tracking gun. Okay, just now was a Gantt chart, now it's a tracking gun. So the major difference between a Gantt chart and the tracking gun is the bars. Let me zoom out a bit and you can see. You see this? There's two bars. We have the one at the top and also another one at the bottom. So when you switch over to the tracking gun view, it will need to accommodate for two bars. One is what's happening, the current task, and the other one is called a baseline. Right? Let me try and point. You see the pop-up? That is called the baseline. So the baseline is our plan. Okay, let me try. Yep. Nope, it doesn't want to. That's called the baseline. So the baseline doesn't move. Okay, the baseline does not move. That is what you have planned. So let's take a look. Task number 6, we are organizing the manuscript. Now, before that, every project has a story. So what is the story of this project over here? Now, if you take a look at the very top line, this is the cookbook. It's a children gourmet cookbook. So before I start updating this project schedule, this is what I tell everybody. If you did not create this schedule, one of the first thing that you should do is find out about the project first. We did manage to see a little bit from the visual report just now, but let's get more. So I'm going to open up a dialog box, which is called the project information. So the project information, now to make things easier for me, this area over here, if you see this is my quick access toolbar. Okay, now what I've done is quick access toolbar usually is at the top of the screen, but I prefer to put it below the ribbon. And what I've done, I've added a button that I frequently use. Okay, the button that I frequently use is the project information. So I'm going to click at it. And this one should give you a quick view of what a little bit of the story of this Microsoft project, this project. So the project starts in April. It's going to finish in September, and we are scheduling from the start. This is the calendar. And then you said, I want to know how many days does it take, this whole project, because it looks like it's completed. The list of tasks is completed. Well, I'm going to click at statistics. There's a button over here, and it will give you more information. So one of the things, whenever you come for my class, this is one of the things that I nag. I will say, open up your project information, take a look, read, okay? So that's the reason why I put this button on the quick access toolbar. So we're going to keep on coming back to it to see what's happening. Okay, now this button, this project information button, is actually on the project tab. If you look at your ribbon, okay, it's on the project tab. Now, this is another thing. Whenever you are using a new application that you're not used to, one of the first things that you should do is understand the lay of the land, okay? Meaning, understand what are the different components of the screen and what is it used for. It might take some time and preventing you from straight away digging into the project, right? Putting in the project schedule. But in the long run, it will help you in using the application because you know where everything are. Now, the button that I just clicked is actually in the project tab. You notice in the properties, we have the project information. Same, it opens up the same. But since we're going to open this again and again, we put it on the quick access toolbar. And by the way, that's the purpose of the quick access toolbar. It's for you to customize, right? Be it you use Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Well, PowerPoint maybe not so much. Word and Excel. Any buttons, any commands that you frequently use, put it on the quick access toolbar. You get much faster access to your commands. It's your application, and that's the purpose. Okay. So now that's the project information. So what I want to do now is I received some feedback. Now I'm the scheduler, I'm the project manager. I'm using Microsoft Project. I need to update. This is a standalone project. I need to update this schedule myself. Okay. If I'm using Project Online or I'm using the Enterprise Project Server Solution, then I can get the resource to update the schedule. But I'm using Project Professional and I'm the project manager. I'm updating it. And I just received word from my resource that they are not going to finish. We won't be able to finish within that 5 days. So then I said, how many days do you need? Then he said, okay, we need 3 more days. We have already gone 50%. That means 2.5 days have gone. We need another 3 more days, okay, in order for us to complete this. Okay, not a problem. Now, first, remember, understand the story of the project. What are we doing? We are doing a project on the gourmet. When is it starting? 30th of April. What is the flow? How does it move? Okay, how does the project move? That's where the arrow comes in. You see that? That's where the arrow comes in. And that, you have to do that. And how do you decide? It's based on your experience, talking to your colleagues, feedback from them. That's when you determine, okay, the story of the project. What needs to be done first, what needs to be done next. Now you can see task number 6 and 7 are linked. There's an arrow in between. Okay, so the resource came back to me. We're not going to be able to do this in 5 days. We have gone through 2.5. That's another 3 days that we need. I'm going to switch over to the task tab and I need to update this. Okay, and I'm using the ribbon task in the schedule, mark on task, and the button that I want is update task. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, that's a bit far. I have to go to the task tab, I have to go to the schedule group, and then click another drop-down button just for me to get to the update task, right? Remember the quick access toolbar just now? There it is. I put the button there to make it easier for me to do my tracking. So this is just one of the methods for you to do tracking. There are other methods. So I'm going to click and it tells me that is what's currently happening for this task. We have done 2.5 and there's still a remaining of 2.5 days. Your resource have told you, no, we can't do this. Okay, so I'm going to change this, the remaining, to 5.5. Okay, we need another 5.5 more days. So I'm going to click it OK. So take a look at my tracking gun right now. I'm going to click it OK. And see that? A few things light up. So as a project manager, looking at this, updating the schedule, then I said, I have to do something about this. Okay, I have to do something. I can't continue following the current schedule. And that's the reason why we do tracking. The first stage is to do your input. Get the plan, get the schedule plan. Then the next step is to fine tune. Okay, get your data in, set the story. You don't like the finish date. Once you have set the project schedule, you don't like the finish date, go for a meeting. They say, no, we have to finish earlier. Then fine tune. Okay, get everything ready. Then we proceed with the project. And that's where we capture the baseline. So like I mentioned, baseline doesn't move. But the rest of the tasks. So we know what we planned earlier was 5 days. But now the tasks have gone beyond 8 days. And let's come back. You notice a blue color in the table over here? This is just to alert to you what are the changes. All right, our duration have increased by 1 day. I'm going to click at the project information again. And then you can see my finish date is now 23rd. Earlier it was 22nd of September. So that is tracking. It will help the project manager after input, after updating the schedule, okay, to see, Do we continue with the schedule? One day, no problem. Negligible, we can still proceed with this project, or we can take a look and try to save this project schedule. Okay, now let's see what else pop up on the screen. Do you guys notice those little people? These are resources. So project is telling me somebody is not very happy. A team member is not very happy. Doesn't have to be a person. It can be equipment also. All right. Somebody is not very happy. So what do? Let's take a look. I'm going to switch over to the resource sheet. Okay. And Robin is not happy. So somewhere along the line, if you notice the message that appeared just now, it says Robin is over allocated. So that's the reason why I'm assuming it's him. That is the reason why his name is in red. That means we have assigned him, or due to the changes in our schedule, okay, due to the changes of our schedule, his work have increased to more than 8 hours per day. Okay, Robin is a full-time resource. Notice it's 100%, meaning that the most you can assign him work in one day is 8 hours. So somehow after we have updated the schedule, that has happened. Now, I'm going to switch over to another view. Remember earlier I mentioned when it comes to using Microsoft Project, you have to get used to switching from one view to another to get to the information. So I'm going to switch to the resource usage. And let me collapse everybody else, Robin. Now, another button that everybody's going to use a lot of, which should be your best friend in Microsoft Project, is the scroll to task button. It's over here. I put it on my quick access toolbar also. Okay, and the purpose of this button, you notice there's a shortcut, Ctrl+Shift+F5. Okay, I usually do not use the shortcut. I will use the button. And the purpose for me to scroll to task is to bring my timesheet, the one on the right side, over to the main screen. That's why that button is very useful. Okay, so we can see that's why it's red. Due to the scheduling changes, Robin is working 16 hours. That's a no-no for Microsoft Project, because remember the resource sheet earlier? Yeah, according to the resource sheet, Robin Wood is a 100% is a full-time resource, but you can only assign him 8 hours. So as a project manager, what do? A project manager, a scheduler, the person in charge of the schedule, it's either that you have to reduce, okay, you have to reduce, or you have to change the schedule. Now, I'm going to go back to the tracking gun just now. Right? So what do? Okay. So most probably the issue here is, let me check again, resource usage. What was the task? Organize manuscript, and also the other one is set pages. This one is overlapping. So that's why it become to 16 hours. Okay, so don't make your decision yet. Take a look at the schedule again. Where is our set pages? It's over here. Okay, so that's Robin. Robin is not very happy because he's supposed to do 2 work at the same time, which you can easily modify this. Okay. Now, or the one update that I showed you just now was the increasing, isn't it, right? So the project manager looking at this and it says, okay, I think the copy edit group, whoever that is in charge of the copy edit, I'm gonna ask you to to start. Whatever that you have, whatever resources that you have received right now, you can start on the project. Don't wait until the finish of the 8 days. Okay, get whatever deliverables from the previous team. Okay, and you can start off with the project. So that's my decision. I'm telling the other team, start whatever they have. You can continue. Of course, that kind of decision you can only do if you are you know your work, you know the project, isn't it? So I'm going to go back to copy edit. I'm going to update the task, and I'm going to say, okay, we're not going to wait 14th of June. We're going to ask the team to start earlier. So let's say, for example, we're going to start, what was the original? Let me check. 11. They're supposed to start in 11. Okay, so I'm updating. Then I said, team, you still start on 11. Okay, that's 2020. Let me change that. So I'm going to click at OK. Right, and I'm updating the task. You notice that's a bit of a move. So that's another way for you to update your project schedule, okay, by updating the start. And the team comes to you and said, okay, we have started. Okay, we have started, and I'm gonna click 20%, let's say. So I'm back on the home tab in the schedule. There's a 25%. I'm gonna use that. And once I click that, you see, it will update. Now, so these are how you can use Microsoft Project up to the tracking, okay? That's the reason why don't just use Project for scheduling. You can use it, go further, use it for tracking. Now, let's reverse a little bit. I have shown you the visual report, I've shown you the gunshot and the tracking gun. So what you need to do actually to start things off is the input, okay? When you do your input, let me tell you, if you do this right, you're not going to have an issue using your Microsoft project. Now, you always start off with the project start date, which can be modified, no problem, and then update the standard calendar. This project is a 8 to 5. It's an 8 to 5 project, and it's Monday to Friday. So one of the things that you should update when you're working with project is you need to declare any non-working time. Why? Any non-working time that does not involve the weekend, because weekend has already been minus off from the calendar. There's no work done during weekend. But you need to tell project what are the days that we are going to go off, because then project will be able to calculate your duration and your finish date correctly. Okay, so just a little bit more, Highland. He's ready. Highland is ready to come in dengan semangatnya. Sekejap lagi. Okay, so project standard, update the standard calendar, then the task. Now you gotta come up with the work breakdown, okay? People, when you work with project, it's either you come up with yourself or you get your colleagues' input. That's why sometimes project schedule take a bit of time when you are getting input, and also the duration. Then after that, like I mentioned, I always use this word, the story of the project, okay? The story of the project, how things are done, which one is done first, that's the arrow that you see. And then after that, who or what are involved in the project, that's the resources. And after that, you get a match. Once you have the list of work, you have the flow, the next step would be who's going to do the work. We have a list of people, we have the list of equipment. The next step would be to assign the resources. Okay, so these are the things that you need to get started off to make it easier for you to come out with a project schedule. All right, now a little bit more. Highlight is getting nervous. He said, okay, good. Now, the next step is fine tuning. Okay, once you have done your input, you get your finish date, you don't like it, your resources are complaining, I'm not available during that time, okay? Or the material, I don't think the material can come at that particular time. So the next stage should be for you to do your fine tuning. Okay, these are the item. And after you have finished your fine tuning, then the next step would be for tracking. So as you're doing all this, make use of the many views that are available in Microsoft Project. Okay, now I hope I've shared some useful information. If you have the license for Microsoft Project, please do use it and take note of some of the things that you might want to do, because Microsoft Project is a bit different than any application, okay? Preferably, you don't just jump in and do your input. Do a bit of preparation, follow the list that I've given just now, and you should be good to go. Okay? Selamat datang, Cik Hailan. Sudah bersedia?
Hello. Apa khabar?
Alhamdulillah.
The information of this Microsoft project is really useful because I'm teaching Microsoft project too, and I found that I learned something too a bit here and there, because just to refresh, things, and I heard that people are watching our Sifu live FB worldwide.
Wow, okay.
So that is the reason why I have nation flag at the back.
Why didn't I think of that?
And I'm promoting the Malay costume, the Malaysian costume, the baju Melayu, since we are still celebrating Hari Raya, and this is my favorite color, and this is for Excel. Because after this, I'm going to teach Excel, so it's synchronized with everything. My favorite color, the application for the software, and also it doesn't contrast with the background because nation flag doesn't have green. Okay, so it's just nice.
Okay, I'm gonna hand over to Jailan. Have fun.
Okay,
you guys have learned a lot since morning. Don't go away. Stay put. And over to you, Hailan.
One more.
Yes.
One more. Nur Hayati is my VBA teacher. Promoting. Okay.
Right. Bye. See ya.
Thank you.
Everybody. Take care.
Take care.
He's very handsome. Wait for it, everybody. Wait for it. Come on, Hailan. Take over.